So this is the 2018 Giant Rain 1, top of the range aluminium. I made a video the other day of my initial setup procedure, I guess you'd say, and I had 3 days to kind of find a home on it and get ready for the National Gravity Enduro Championships, which we had here over the weekend. Wednesday night I rode it at my local trails at Anstey's Hill, got it feeling pretty good. Thursday I went to Fox Creek, found I needed to run it a little bit softer and a little bit more forgiving for the trails out there, because there's a lot of hard braking bumps and ruts, and found the sweet spot pretty quickly. Rode a little bit, so I only had a couple of hours of sunlight, but made it happen on Thursday night. Then went out for a couple of last minute runs on Friday night. Got it feeling pretty good. I thought it was ready for sure. And then Saturday morning practice, didn't do much fiddling, just rode. Had a bit of an issue with the derailleur, but that's another issue. Race Saturday, race Sunday. So 8-stage Gravity Enduro National Championships. Pretty unforgiving, pretty brutal. Liaisons were tight, so had to climb a fair bit and fairly fast. This thing climbs really well. Super impressed with how it climbs. It's got a lockout on the bar here, but I didn't really use that. I'm running it stiff enough for it to not feel wallowy when I'm riding anyway, so I was happy with that. Descending. This thing is an absolute beast. This is a large. I'm borrowing it at the moment, so it's not my bike obviously. I'm used to riding a medium. I've always ridden mediums. Larges have always felt a bit big. When I got on this, it definitely felt a bit too big for me. And this year they've increased the blah blah, whatever this thing is. So I've increased the length of the bike and increased the wheelbase. So it's definitely a longer bike and it definitely feels super long. So I put my stem on it, just a 50mm stem and 35mm rise bars, or 38mm rise maybe. Felt heaps more at home straight away. Flying on it, pretty much flying on it straight out the box. Tight corners and whatnot were pretty hard to negotiate because I'm not used to pushing such a large bike around corners. It almost felt in the initial stages of trying to get used to it like it was getting away from me in corners and I was kind of left out the back. But I sorted that out pretty quickly and ended up riding really well. Saturday, first 2 stages, nothing to do with the bike. I just was a little bit rattled, a little bit frantic, and I was doing some last minute maintenance and had to replace the derailleur because I had an issue, and I literally got to the starting line with about 20 seconds to go. Went, because it's all timed, you got to go at your certain times and whatnot. So went out, started stage 1, a little bit frantic, but got it together in the end. Put down a good pedal down the bottom. Stage 2 was the same story, a little bit frantic. I kind of overcooked corners and still had a reasonable time, a respectful time, but it wasn't a hot run. Stage 3, what was stage 3? Muppets, that's right. I put it together on Muppets. That was really good. My time didn't really show that I was that much faster than what I thought I would be doing, but it was a good run altogether anyway. Stage 4, long, which is, I know the track well, so I didn't need to get too much practice and whatnot, and I really opened it up. I felt comfortable, I felt fit and strong, and I was flying down there. I got 7th overall on that stage, which I was pretty happy with. I got 15th overall for the race, which in a field of killers, I was pretty happy with for sure. I feel like it's probably my best race performance, apart from a couple of donkey stages. So back to the bike. Descending, compared to my bike, which is a 2015 Rain 1, so the aluminium Rain, the orange one. I've got a Fox Float X2 shock on the back, 2018 Pikes on the front. I've got that thing singing, and this compared to that is definitely more stable, definitely more calm in the stroke in the back. So they've put a longer shock for the same amount of suspension. It just feels so controlled and easy to get it balanced. The fork is super simple, it's just rebound and low speed compression and air. The back is literally just rebound and air. Super balanced, doesn't chatter over any of the bumps, it carries speed, it seems to want to pop. The compression or whatever they've got that's ramping up when you're pushing your bike, you're loading your bike into things, is just absolutely perfect. It accelerated everywhere. Any of the choppy stuff, it just seemed to carry speed, definitely more speed than my bike. Might be slightly a bit of a setup issue. I'm still trying to get used to the new shock on that bike, but I definitely have found it pretty close to the sweet spot. But this thing murders everywhere. I PR'd all my descents. I PR'd all the climbs as well, which was pretty impressive. I mean, I was on a time limit, so I was going for it a little bit, but yeah, it was a hell of a weekend, and this thing is a hell of a bike. The only thing I don't like about it is this GX derailleur. So Saturday morning, pedaling up a sprint like a fly road. It's a little bit bumpy, but nothing crazy. I would have been in maybe 10th gear. And as I pedaled, the chain jumped off of the bottom cog and the bottom jockey wheel, sorry, and locked up and twisted the derailleur. So that was basically the end of that derailleur. I got a couple of guys, friends of mine, to fix it up and have a fiddle with it. It turns out I bent the hanger a little bit as well. They fiddled with it, got it working reasonably well, but it just wasn't going to be any good for climbing back up. I could use the bottom 6 gears, so 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, but the top gears were rubbish. So I ended up putting a new derailleur on. Got the guys at Bicycle Fix to chuck a new derailleur on. They worked frantically. The guys there were killer. So Tyson got it on, and the boys were all helping. It was epic. And I got to the line literally with about 20 seconds to go. Grabbed my bike, straight over to the first stage. I left the village, first stage, and it was much better. Rode all day Saturday, and then at the very end of Long, which was the last stage for Saturday, it did the same thing. It jumped out of off the bottom jockey wheel and twisted the derailleur. So that made it a little bit of a nightmare. Apparently there's no problems with the XO1 and the XX1 Eagle gear, but the GX, I've been reading heaps of problems with them. After this happened to me, I looked on the forums, and not ideal, definitely not what you want, especially if you're trying to ride fast and hard. So forget the GX, I think the 11 speed's better. I've definitely never had any problems with my 11s, I've just got the X1 11 speed. This thing climbs so well. The Eagle helps, but I don't think it's worth blowing out a derailleur every time you ride, or every third time, or even if it's just once. You know, you ride it for 6 months and then the only time it happens is in a race. Definitely not what you want. So overall, long cranks as well, that's another point I want to make. Being a large frame, it comes with 175 cranks, which I think a lot of bikes actually come with that length of crank. Now, I kick it into rocks. You just got to be careful where you're pedaling. You do get a little bit more leverage on your, so you don't have to use your gears as much when you're pedaling out of pinches and whatnot. But I don't really care about that. I'd rather go short cranks, keep them out of the way, so I can sprint through the rough stuff. Keep my feet up when I'm cornering on flat corners or off camber stuff. I was clipping pedals at the bottom of Muppets through the off camber gear. That wouldn't have happened on the shorter cranks. Otherwise, this thing's flawless. Set it up with your cockpit settings if you're going to get one. However you've always run your bikes, I like to run a higher rise bar, and obviously you're not going to run a long stem on a bike like this. That's out of the question. Brakes where you want it, all that stuff. Have a fiddle with the suspension, you'll find the sweet spot quite quick. Weight. So this weighs 14.5 kilos, obviously no drink bottle. As it is now with my pedals, which are Nuke Proof Horizons, I think, so they're the Sam Hill style pedals. Minion DHF 2.3 with a bit of goo in there, 3C and a 2.5 3C up the front, and I've also got my wheel on the front here, which is the Flow Mark III, which is super strong wheel. So not super light, but very strong. And overall 14.5 kilos, drop it close, got everything you need. I'm definitely putting it on the short list for sure. So I'm going to test a few bikes this year and see what 2018 brings, and see what people have done this year with their bikes, and yeah, we'll see it. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to jump on one of these. We'll see what happens. They've got the carbon ones coming in the next couple of weeks for the demo, the advanced one, which is more or less similar setup but Fox suspension. still got the GX, and I believe the medium comes with 170 cranks, which is better. But yeah, to wrap up, this bike absolutely motors. I went faster than I've ever ridden on a few of those trails, according to Strava, and also my results were really good on the weekend too. Yeah, the thing murders. So if you want a big bike that goes ridiculously fast and is controlled, but can still pedal around, I wouldn't be too disappointed riding this thing at cobblers or riding it somewhere where it's more pedally. I think you just 5 psi front and back and just let it dance for sure. It's not sluggish at all. It pedals as well as my old bike. So if you like the Giants, get on a Reign, or at least demo one for sure. And we'll see if there's any other bikes you want me to review that are available. Send me a message or let me know and I'll give them a crack. Thanks.